Hello everybody, I'm going to cover several topics in this video, and first of all I'm going to take a look at the past and current radar in the southeast, because there's a lot of flooding that happened yesterday and there's still more additional rain possible. So first of all, here's the eastern US radar and the overall weather map. So we have a cutoff low situated here in northwestern Georgia, and this cutoff low came in all the way from here. It came something like this, I think. I'm not sure exactly what was it track, but it brought a lot of snow. It brought a lot of snow to the plains, and even there was some snow even in this area too, but the main accumulations were in Iowa and Minnesota. And now it's here. There's, of course, obviously there's no more snow with this, because you won't get snow in May in the southeast. But there is some rain and there is some storminess too. At least there was some earlier today. So we got a front here. Now this purple front. This is a mixed front. It's not a cold front, and I think, I'm not sure what this line means. I think this is the dry line. And so if you are ahead of this in this area, you could be getting heavy rain. You know, this is not just moving east. This is just rotating all over the place. So I think this rain would actually be rotating in this area. And then all of yesterday's heavy rain has now quieted down. We still got some showers in this area, and we got this front stretching back here. Now let's zoom in closer and see where we got the most rain right now. Some heavy rain northwest of Atlanta right now, and showers with a few rumbles of thunder in this area. Also some showers circling at the back side of the low pressure. Remember, it's in here. More showers here. This will all move east, and I think that by tomorrow this area could see more storms. So by tomorrow evening. Now let's see, what we have. A lot of flooding going on too. At least it was caused by yesterday's rain. So you see all of northern Georgia, northern South Carolina, western North Carolina, in southwestern Virginia, all of a sudden flooding, and there's and flood watches, and there's some flood warnings in Alabama, and practically you got a lot of flooding going on. But the flooding caused by this storm was in these areas, and I can show you the rainfall amounts, because the highest rainfall amounts were over Georgia and Alabama with this system, and we had some locally. We had 8 inches in some of these areas. This is a very localized area, 68 inches east of Macon, and we had widespread 4 to 6 inch area in northwestern Georgia, and 3 to 4 inches going back down into central Georgia, with lesser amounts southwest. Also a 2 to 4 inch area in northern Alabama and eastern Alabama. And this was as of 4:15 p.m. Eastern time, and I think we'll get more through tomorrow. Okay, now I'm gonna take a quick look at the short-range model called the RAP, because I want to show you the future radar. So we'll see, because I want you to see how this low is circulating around the same place. Clearly you see this rotating right over the southeast, and I have only 18 hours, but there'll be a small line forming with this later in about, well, let's say, yeah, in 20 hours probably there'll be a small line here. Now we're gonna look at a possible severe weather event next week. So you see our low here, it's circulating and then it goes away. It seems to be, yeah, it might go out to the Atlantic, but it might lift up the coast too, but I think it'll go out to the Atlantic. Now you see our next system. So this will be by, this will be by, what one is by Wednesday? No, by Thursday. So by Thursday, we have low pressure situated here, and we got some severe weather in eastern Colorado, possibly, although we just isolate severe storms because this is still too far for the moisture to reach. Just some rain here, there's nothing. But farther when we get to Friday, this is when this seems to be getting a lot more interesting. So if you would be in southeastern Arkansas and northern Louisiana and eastern Texas, this area, this seems to be some very strong supercells, so this could be some tornadoes, because you'll be getting some good amount of moisture coming in here. You might not reach this area, but there could be some severe weather with this. It depends on how far the moisture will reach, but this looks to be, we'll see how this develops, but I think there could be some tornadic activity with this and some large hail. And then more of this begins forming by the weekend, more in the southeast. You got actually a large area of rainfall. You see, you got a lot of rain going on with this pretty big system, and then you can getting a trough in here, and this is also something to watch. So looks like some severe weather in Georgia, Alabama, and possibly Tennessee. This looks to be some of the severe weather spread, and possibly more north in this area too. But what's interesting, if this verifies, of course it's very far out, but if this verifies, we could be seeing severe weather in the northeast. But it's of course very far out, so I'm not really not counting on this. First, look at this this trough. We could be seeing freezing temperatures here in May, and this will be middle May, and this is just 2 weeks to summer, and we'll still be seeing very cold temperatures here, maybe even into, yeah, we could be seeing a frost in Kentucky even. And this looks to be like some severe weather in this area. But it's very far out, so you can't count on it, but this looks to be some severe weather. And what am I showing you? I'm showing you the GFS right now. This is the GFS. And look at this huge trough. I just can't believe this will happen, because it brings very cold air, possibly a freeze in Tennessee, and frosts even into Alabama and North Carolina and Georgia. Of course, you know, the mountains here, but still, this looks to be a very big cold event. So an Arctic outbreak here with this trough, but we'll see what happens with that. And then that goes away. and you still seem to be getting some rainstorms in the future, but it should be very warm after this. Now the euro. So this shows also severe weather, but it shows a more likely scenario, which I think is more likely to happen. It shows severe weather along South Texas, more along the coast, and I think that may happen because we have a lot of shear in this area, and we got a lot of instability and moisture in this area too. And in this area some moisture too. I'll show you that soon. And here you continue, but it seems to be a heavy rain event with isolated severe storms across the east, if you call the euro, because this area you see your isolated supercells. Like these are some supercells, possibly isolated supercells, but it's a lot of heavy rain, and farther to here, isolated supercells again. And you see, again, this is so far out, but this shows some severe weather in this area near Boston, but it's not clear if this will happen. And the euro doesn't show such a big trough, and I agree more with the euro than the GFS. We'll see. Okay, now I'm going to show you the shear. So for hour 120, no, for hour 132, I think. Let's see here. Yeah, for hour 132. So we have some pretty decent shear across some of these areas. And this is at 500 millibars. So there is some decent shear here in the upper levels of the atmosphere, but it doesn't seem that it gets to the ground. So that's why there's a lot of uncertainty, because when it gets to the 920 millibars, there's barely nothing, and 850 millibars, barely nothing too. And not a lot at 700 millibars, so it looks like it doesn't get a lot down to the ground. Now the instability, the left index. Now you got some very good instability here in this area. So in the western end of the severe weather area, there could be a lot of large hail. Right under here, this is extreme instability here, and farther here too. So it looks to be good for some hail, but tornadoes probably not a lot. And then farther on, it doesn't look like there will be a lot in the southeast. The main threat would be in Texas. Finally, let's take a look at the moisture. So looks like some moisture in this area and this area, but the moisture is not great, so that's why it's still very questionable. We'll see if the chances increase for the severe weather event later on as we get closer to it. So that's about it, and I'm not making any forecast maps right now yet because it's still too far out, but maybe in a couple of days I'll start making forecast maps for this. Also, stay tuned for my third summer forecast, which is coming on May 14th, 2013, and my final one is coming on June 1st, 2013, and it'll be pretty much cold for the Great Lakes region and warm for much of the